Gemini, and welcome to your reading for February the 10th through February the 16th. I'm your astrologer and tarot card reader, Mary Trimble, with Live in the Solution, and this is the third time I am recording your reading. Talk about Mercury and retrograde, darling. We're in the shadow period, and for me, that's always the worst. So all my equipment has been on the fritz, darling. Anyway, that's a long story. So here we go. Third time a charm, yeah? Just, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. That's what I have to do, Gemini. Okay, this is for Gemini. Gemini, what wonderful gifts, guidance, blessings, and helpful information can you give Gemini for February the 10th through the 16th? And we will need it. Stay tuned for the astrology report right after this, because it will tell you how to deal with Mercury retrograde that's coming up on Sunday. Okay. 3 cards for Gemini, please. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 cards. Okay, that's the last one. All right, now I'll bring this down so you can see it. These are general readings, guys. They're for the collective. So take what resonates and leave the rest. And if you would like a more personal, tailored reading, then click on this link here and that'll take you to my website where you can see what kind of readings I offer. Okay, these are clarifying cards for Gemini. I have meditated over these cards before off screen and done intentions. So let me see. Gemini. These clarifying cards are for Gemini. Gemini, what wonderful gifts, guidance, blessings, and helpful information can you give Gemini through these clarifying cards for February the 10th through the 16th? Okay, please clarify. There you go. Please clarify the height. There we go. Oh, and please clarify. I don't have my glasses on. Card and the Ace of Swords. Oh, this almost came out. There it is. Okay. Ah, interesting. Okay, so Gemini, the first card out for you is the Tower, darling. Nobody likes the Tower, right? So the Tower is a card that, it's indicating, it's interesting because this is the full moon that's just happened, right? On Sunday. Well, it hasn't happened yet because I'm recording this on Saturday. So this is about endings and completions. Perhaps the Tower is when you've lost something, something's gone. It's a situation that has broken down. So you could have lost a job. You could have lost an apartment, a house, something has gone. It can be a small thing, but perhaps not. This is Uranus, right? So Uranus is like, sudden lightning, right? And sudden happenings. When the Tower comes into a reading, yes, something is taken away. However, the Tower comes in to shake things up. Maybe you've been coasting for a while. Maybe you're in a job that you really don't like, and you've been coasting, or a career you don't like, and whatever this is, it needs to go because you need to bring in new energy. And as I said, Uranus comes in, it shakes things up and it moves things around. And it's always for the better. But you may feel stuck in this situation, and you may feel that there's no way out. And that's what sometimes we all feel like that when we have, when the Tower comes into a reading. But the 8 of Swords is really intellectually feeling stuck, right? It's one of those cards where, it's you're refusing to see the situation, or you're unable to see the situation, because, she is blindfolded. She's blindfolded and she has swords, but she's really not trapped. It's an illusion. She just feels trapped. She feels stuck in some way. Well, the tower's moving and shaking. It's time to look at the situation for what it is. Sometimes this is denial, not looking at, what needs to change. This might have needed to change for a while, but you hadn't been willing to change it yourself. So when the Eight of Swords comes in, it's saying, open your mind up, open your eyes. There is always a choice. My son always goes, I had no choice. There's always a choice, darling, always. Thelma and Louise had a choice. They chose to go off a cliff. I don't recommend that, but that was a choice they made. They could have been arrested and gone to jail. They chose to be free forever, flying off that cliff. Probably not a choice I would have made, but there you have it. Now, look, the High Priestess is coming in, and the High Priestess is intuition and psychic ability. She is giving you the keys to the Akashic records. She's sitting at Solomon's temple between the two pillars of knowledge and energy. One's light, one's dark. She is between the two. She's light and dark, like most of us. Honestly, that's what we are. We're all made up of light and dark, yin yang, male and female. And she is giving you the keys to the Akashic records. She's giving you the keys to, the wisdom since time began. So, this is a wonderful... trust your intuition and your gut feeling. Don't underestimate. Listen, there must have been a situation, because I know that has been for me in the past, where you're like, oh God, my gut told me not to do it, or my gut told me to do it, and I just wasn't, and I should have done. Because in 2020 hindsight, you can see that your intuition and your gut feeling was correct. Your instinct was right. So really, now's the time to trust that. And clarifying the High Priestess is the Fool. And the Fool is like a new beginning, an adventure. So this is interesting. The Tower has come in for you, and it's because it needs to clear the path. I know people's lives have changed when they kind of had a fire in their house or their apartment, and then it changed the trajectory of their life, and every single one of them is doing far better than what they were beforehand. Now I see them. So the Fool is this, comes into a reading when there's change, right? And sometimes it's a little it's frightening, because the future isn't known. It's unknown. There's no guarantees, right? But the Fool is so naive. He has not been beaten up by life. So he's like, oh, this is so exciting. I wonder what's around the corner. I wonder what's next. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going to happen next. This is so exciting. And people who've been around a while and been a bit battered with life are saying, oh no, I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know what's going to happen next. Oh no, what is going to happen to me? It's the same situation with a different energy. It's a shift in energy. So listen, look at this as an exciting adventure. It's new. It's exciting. And then you have the Death card. There is a major transformation going on for you, Gemini. Really, externally and internally. I feel that it's almost like you're reborn. The Death card comes in. It's always death and rebirth, right? So I think of the Death card as being in the hallway, and you really have to close the door to your past. You have to, your old you have to die. You have to be different now. You are different. You are reborn out of, it's like the phoenix rises from the ashes, right? So out of all that experience, from that negative event, perhaps, or what felt like a negative event, you in the interim will be reborn. And you have to be reborn. Enlightenment comes at a price. So you've got to, the old, this is like an awakening, right? It's like a spiritual awakening. And it's almost like you're just born into this, you're waking up. Things are situations and circumstances are waking you up to what's going on around you. And you now are someone completely different. Now, right next to the Death card is the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is a new beginning. This is like, it's been very difficult, right? It's very challenging when you come out of the Tower and, you come out of the Eight of Swords, because you realize, there are solutions and there's hope. And then you can trust your intuition. You can embark on this new journey that the Fool is taking you on. And you have the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords has an eagle at the top of that. That's power. There's power in this sword. This is the Ganesh of the tarot. This is removing all the obstacles that have been in your way. So look at this. Once you decide to be completely different and you kill off the old you, close the door behind you so that the door in front of you can open, and the Ganesh of the tarot, the Ace of Swords, will unblock any blockages that have been there for you. And look, clarifying those two cards is love. The Knight of Cups, bringing in the gift of love, bringing in the gift of intuition, psychic ability, that lovely, it's like help, this is the knight in shining armor. He's gallant, he's loyal, he's steadfast, he's emotionally available, he's coming in to save the day. Gemini, thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and please stay tuned for the astrological report coming up next. Mwah! I love you all, and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, thank you for staying on to listen to the astrology report and find out what's going on in the celestial sky for this week. So this is for the week of February the 10th through the 16th, and there's not a lot going on during the week. There's nothing, well look, Friday, it's a Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to you guys. I would say if you don't have a Valentine, be your own Valentine. Give yourself a romantic evening, a bubble bath or glass of wine, or, go out with friends, or, pamper yourself in some way. You don't have to feel out of sorts on Valentine's Day, and it's only a commercial holiday anyway, so it's not that important. But there are no exact aspects, and normally I don't talk about the moon, but as it's Valentine's Day, I decided to mention that the moon is in Scorpio. Now, when the moon is in Scorpio, the energy of Scorpio is intense, it's deep, it's meaningful. Scorpio doesn't have time for shallow friends. It's all about, something's got to mean something. It's got to be deep and purposeful. So this is kind of it can be a very intense romantic evening on Valentine's Day. Now, not only is the moon in Scorpio on Valentine's Day, it also interacts with 3 planets. The first of which is Uranus. The second is Mercury, and the third, closely following that, is Jupiter. Now, Uranus will kind of bring in that unexpected energy. It's the planet of sudden happenings. So plans can change in the flash of an eye. So expect the unexpected. Somebody could call up and cancel plans, or even show up without warning and make plans with you. So remember spontaneity. Remember that word. Be spontaneous. And listen, Mercury's the planet of communication. So, conversations will flow, it'll be flirty, and Jupiter's coming in. There's going to be an abundance of love, laughter, and joy. Now, I will say we are getting ready for Mercury to go retrograde. So we need to be very mindful and cognizant of the things that we say. Our conversations can be taken out of context, and that is not our intention. That may not be our intention, I should say. So we need to be really careful about that. Now, listen, the only day that something major is happening is Sunday. And there are two major events on Sunday. The first is Mars moves into Capricorn. Now, whenever a planet moves into another sign, it's huge energy shift. And Mars is this planet of action, right? It wants to be, it's antsy, it's got to be moving all the time. It's got so much energy and it wants to get things done. It's the planet of war, it'll start a war, anything to get moving. So Capricorn is the planet of ambition, but also planning. And actually, Capricorn will plan something and follow it through to completion. So Mars loves being in Capricorn. It's actually exalted in Capricorn, which means he can fully express himself. Mars is very happy in Capricorn and will be able to complete projects and things that are started. So this is an incredible energy to work with. I mean, start anything that you've kind of left on the back shelf, get it out and start doing it, because you will have the stamina that will carry you through to completion. So anything you start is it's a really good opportunity. Ride the crest of the wave, darling, co-create with the universe. And then, darling, the dreaded Mercury going retrograde. Mercury retrograde. If you don't know anything about astrology, I'm sure you've heard of Mercury retrograde. Blame it on Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It's also the planet of logic, your thought process. It rules electronics, mechanics, local travel. So, city, the public transport. So things can be delayed under Mercury retrograde, right? So what we have to do, the first thing we have to do is to allow for extra time to get to work or for any appointments, any important appointments. We must always tack on extra time in anticipation of those delays. Now, we must always check our texts and emails. This energy, Mercury retrograde, we don't see the details. We're completely blinded to certain things that happen to me. We're in the shadow. We're already feeling it right now. So we're in the shadow period, because as Mercury slows down, the qualities of the planets, any planet that slows down ready to go retrograde, all the symbolism from that planet is amplified. So we are really, it's really slowing down. Sunday, it stations to go retrograde. It'll be retrograde till March 8th, 9th, I think it is. I have to double. I'm pretty sure it's March 8th or 9th. And then we have a shadow period after that until it kind of picks up speed when it changes direction. There's a way to handle. You can get a lot of things done in Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde can really help you in certain areas. This is an amazing time or an incredible opportunity to organize and clean and clear out. Donate those clothes that have been there for ages that don't fit you or you haven't worn for a long time. Donate them or sell them. Clear the decks. Minimalism is the word, right? So get rid, and this is a time of reflection. So it's a perfect time to meditate. It's wonderful to sort things out in your house, to clear things out, to get rid of garbage or things that you don't, really just organize and chuck it out. This is a time to plan, but don't execute. So anything that you can do behind the scenes, anything you can prepare, perhaps if you're in a business, you might be developing a new program. That's perfect to do all that work and then launch it when, the new moon or when Mercury goes direct. So we can work with these energies. We'll miss words out, we'll say the wrong words. I'm going to apologize in advance for everything that I say wrong now because that happens. So listen, I just want to say I do have a Facebook group that's an astrology group, and it's a private group, and every 2 weeks I do a live feed in that group, and we look at the new moon and the full moon and how we receive it respectively every 2 weeks. So whomever shows up will look at their sign and we'll see which area of their lives they're receiving this energy and whatever else is going on. And then I also have my tarot cards on hand to answer questions. So it's a lovely group. It's filled with love. My only requirement is that you do have a profile photo and you've had an account for a while. I don't want fake accounts, so I've had to erase a couple of accounts that were fake. And but it's lovely. It's such a lovely thing. So I hope you will join me there. Listen, sign up for my newsletter because some really cool things are coming up and I'm going to be letting people know. Everything is below. All the links below, you can check it out. Another way to help me is through Patreon. And I post things on there I don't post anywhere else. And I put the report, the astrological report, the written report, I put that up before these videos are released there. And there's different tiers. You can support me for as little as $1 a month there. It's not a lot of money, but it is to me. I can do a lot with that. So what else? That's it. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Mwah! I love you all, and I'll see you next week.